Welcome, everybody, to episode 41 of the Cover 2 presented by TigerVision. With Grayson, Mann, as always. I'm Patrick Neal. The U.S. won.
That's
we got to
the big
start with
elephant
that.
in the room. USA.
Just beat Iran.
Iran so far away.
Yeah. On to the round of 16.
The Netherlands.
We will win this World Cup, right?
Absolutely. I have no doubt. Pulisic is
Should be
the
the
GOAT.
favorites, honestly.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Pulisic.
Yeah.
Absolute stud.
Hopefully he's okay.
I hope so.
He got need.
He sacrificed himself for the goal, so it kind of big trade out. He will cement himself as a legendary American. Might put him on Mount Rushmore if you ask me.
Captain America.
That's right.
Captain America. Yeah, the U.S. did look good though. So.
Yeah. Usually we're not a big soccer show, but when the United States is going to the knockout stage,
you gotta represent. You gotta represent.
First time in 8 years. You gotta talk about it.
Yep. Anyways,
Yeah.
from one football to another, we're gonna talk about American football today. Jaguars. Gonna go ahead and get right into it. They beat the Ravens 28-27. Trevor Lawrence was very impressive in this game.
T-Law, Bald, and Duval. That was probably his best game of his career. I think the first time he's thrown for 3 touchdowns in a game. One of his, I guess, few game-winning drives he's got against the Ravens. They were down 19-10 with 5 minutes left, and the guy was slinging it. And that drive with no timeouts, where Zay Jones literally was just turning into Tyreek Hill and just all the great receivers. It was so fun to watch. I am so happy for Trevor. I think we've been kind of waiting for this game where it's kind of unlocked, and against a team like Baltimore, you can kind of say, okay, there's something there. It's finally arrived.
It is finally arrived. Yeah, maybe I'm hoping this is the game that kind of kickstarts that Trevor Lawrence, potentially Hall of Fame career. You never know. But yeah, he was terrific in this game. The Jaguars were very, very risky with that decision to go for 2 during their last possession, but they got it.
Yeah, and Trevor targeted that corner. He had just came in, I believe, on that play. So good on him to make that read and that throw. He made a lot of difficult throws this game. He wasn't just dinking and dunking. He was letting it rip. And I really believe this team, when they get Calvin Ridley next year, then they get a couple pieces in the offseason.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're gonna have some juice to them, and maybe this game is the one because you always just need one. You need a 4-quarter game to say, yeah, we can do this. They could potentially go on a run from here. Not saying they're gonna go 10-7 and go to the playoffs, but maybe they finish like 7-10, and everyone's kind of riding it high after the first year with Doug Peterson. So, yeah, I think this game's more about Jacksonville, and Baltimore's got some things to figure out. 4 one-loss possessions.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Baltimore, I mean, is it a good thing that they're up this much late, or is it a bad thing that they're, screwing around at the end and
I don't know. The Ravens don't really have
these
much
games
to throw to besides Mark Andrews. It feels like once he's covered up, there's not much for Lamar Jackson to work with, and I just don't know about this team. I think Cincinnati they won probably one of the biggest games of the season against Tennessee. It's going to go under the radar because of just the situation. But the division, they're going to have the tiebreaker. They need that win, especially because they're behind in the division with Baltimore. So that was a big win for them. The Ravens have some things to work out, but maybe we'll figure it out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Ravens team is good, and I think they're definitely capable of winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
But yeah, like you mentioned, they have very little weapons on offense. This offense is completely carried by Lamar. Maybe he should win the MVP because of it. I think he should definitely be
in consideration, I'd say.
In consideration, yeah.
But they've had losses like the Giants, the Dolphins, the Jaguars yesterday, where they've been up and they kind of, like you said, they kind of slack off, fool around a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're down or behind, and they need Justin Tucker to sometimes bail them out. I mean, if they don't have Justin Tucker, how many of these games are they winning?
Yeah,
that are close.
Justin Tucker is, honestly, one of the most valuable players in the NFL, I would think. But, if the Ravens are able to somehow lock down their late game situational offense and defense and special teams, they could be real dangerous. They could honestly be, what's their record? 7-4. They've lost all these games after being up.
By this much.
After being up late. So they could potentially be 11-0 right now.
Yeah.
If they get a little bit better at finishing off these games. So I think the Ravens are in a good spot, but it is a little worrying that this keeps happening.
Yeah, they'll have to clean it up. Some of that's John Harbaugh, and some of that's just kind of decisions that have been made at the end. But hey, you look at the end of the day, it's Trevor Lawrence's best game of his career, and it's a turning point hopefully for him, who's been actually playing really solid this year. It's kind of gone under the radar just because Jacksonville's kind of been Urban Meyer is no longer the talk of the town.
Yeah, and they didn't have ETN in this game either.
Yeah.
He went out injured. Jermichael Hasty was running back there, had a good game. But
He did.
We're gonna move on to the Seahawks 34, Josh Jacobs 40. Josh Jacobs, pretty much single-handedly carried this Raiders team to a win. Quite literally won this game for him on the last play. He runs 86 yards, I believe, for a walk-off touchdown after not having a touchdown run of more than like 28 yards his entire career. Josh Jacobs.
Jeez.
Contract year Josh Jacobs is a Hall of Fame running back.
He's in his bag.
I mean, I don't know what he did this offseason.
Money talks.
I
man.
want some of that.
He is already
he's
rushed
got.
for his career high, I believe. He's at 1,100 yards on the season. Yeah, he already eclipsed it, and then we've got 6 games left to go. He's averaging 5.4 yards a carry with 9 touchdowns and 325 yards through the air. So he's having a heck of a year. Definitely is aiming for that big contract, especially you've got to prove it as a running back because NFL teams get really hesitant to pay them. But I see what you have written down. If you want to elaborate on this, this running back class, man.
The running back free agent class coming up is pretty
nice.
fantastic, especially with this kind of emergence or I guess reemergence of Josh Jacobs. You got Josh Jacobs, Saquon, who is also having a fantastic season. Jamal Williams, who I believe still leads the league in touchdowns. Rashad Penny, who's been good when he's been healthy. Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders, Raheem Mostert. There's a lot of options on this in the free agent market this upcoming summer. So
yeah, like we were talking about with the Ravens. The Ravens have been on kind of both ends of these one-loss games. The Raiders have been completely on the other side of that. They've been taking loss after loss after loss after loss. So they could be closer than we think. Could they potentially make a run? They don't have too bad of a schedule.
Yeah, but it's a tough division.
Tough division, tough slate. So you never know.
Look, I don't know. I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to make the playoffs. But
playoffs.
I don't know. I don't know if they should be talking about playoffs. But
if they could somehow do what Jacksonville's doing right now and kind of finish the year positive and maybe go 7-10, like we said.
Yeah. But then you're kind of in a, what do you do with Derek Carr's situation?
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, they've invested a lot into this team, but I don't think it's championship caliber. So like I mentioned, Derek Carr is getting older. He definitely still has trade value, so maybe you trade him. I don't know, but it's tough. But
hey, if as long as Josh Jacobs does that, they're not going to lose.
As long as Josh Jacobs is doing what he's doing, you'll be in games. So,
yeah.
But the Seahawks.
Seahawks have lost their last 2. They've
kind of dropped off a little bit. I think.
They've been riding high off of this really excellent rookie class, the Geno Smith hype story, and they kind of now that they've fallen out of the attention of the national media, but they've started to kind of get figured out, I feel. Young players are going to make mistakes. Geno Smith, we know who he is at the end of the day. Not saying he's not a good quarterback, but you're going to have a lot of film on him, be able to kind of capture his weaknesses in certain spots. So
I mean Geno's been fantastic, and he played well in this game, but this defense is a liability for sure.
Yeah, they got their cut work out.
They got a few talented players like Tariq Woolen, Shelby Harris, but it's still not a great unit, and especially at the start of the year, it was giving up tons and tons of points. So
they're definitely ahead of schedule in terms of where they were supposed to be.
Definitely, and they kind of got to lock in these next few weeks because I think if you had mentioned 2-3 weeks ago or asked the question if the Seahawks were a playoff team, I think a lot of people would have said yeah, definitely. But Washington's in the mix now somehow.
Ooh, so these are their next.
The Giants.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams in the. So these are the rest of their games.
Okay.
The rest of their 6 remaining games. They're at LA.
Okay.
And that's a team maybe without Matthew Stafford. Even still, I don't know.
Should probably win that game if you're the Seahawks, but.
The Panthers at home.
Okay,
I'd
that
say
should be a win.
The Seahawks at home at night. That'll be a big game.
Wait, the Seahawks?
The Niners at home.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's probably an L.
Yeah, the Chiefs on the road on Christmas Eve.
Probably an L.
The Jets at home. That's a tough one.
Ooh, that is a tough one.
And then the Rams at home to finish it out.
Yeah, so if they can get 4 wins,
they could go to the playoff.
Yeah, sure. I think that should probably be their goal because, maybe lose one, win one against the Rams. Jets are questionable, but they got to lock in here these next few weeks.
They got to hope Zach Wilson plays that football game.
Yeah.
They got to hope and pray.
Although the way Mike White, he played last week or a few days ago. He's cooking, but anyways.
Let Mike White cook.
Anything else on this game before we move on?
Pay the man. Pay Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, although maybe if you pay him, he's just going to regress back to what he was in previous years.
Gets the money and then he's like, okay.
Yeah, but anyways, the Eagles. We're going to turn to Sunday night. They beat the Packers 40-33, and the main talking point from this game.
I see something.
What do you see?
I see Jordan Love.
Oh
my God, he's throwing
Jordan Love sighting.
Oh my God.
Yes, Aaron Rodgers goes out. I believe with a rib injury this game. He's been banged up all season, but Jordan Love comes in and honestly looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think literally in that first drive he came in, he threw a 64-yard dot.
Yeah, I mean a lot of it was Christian Watson running after the catch, but he was still good. It was still scored.
That's positivity for Jordan Love and all the Jordan Love stands out there. Jalen Hurts and the company, they're keeping on. They're 10-1, and I think a lot of people really don't trust this team. I don't think the Eagles can do much to sway the opinion of a lot of people. I've heard a lot of overrated talk about this Eagles squad, but I still think the Packers are a tough out, regardless of what their record is.
This is very true. I mean, their defense, a lot of money's been put into it. They have, Christian Watson is emerging a little bit. You still have Aaron Jones. You still have a somewhat talented offensive line. The Packers should be a tough team. Obviously, it hasn't gone the way that I think a lot of Packers fans would have hoped or thought that it was going to go this season. But, yeah, the Packers are still a tough team. I don't know. I think we gotta mention it here. What do the Packers do? Because I think they're probably not making the playoffs.
No.
I think it's very unlikely at this point that they do.
They'd have to win out, and that's already unlikely with just what they've done.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to the playoffs. So what do? Do you shut down Rodgers? Do you say he's injured even if maybe he can go? I personally, I don't know, honestly. It might be tough, but I think I kind of want to see what I have with Jordan Love there.
I do too. I think depending on the severity of the injury, I think he said on his the Pat McAfee show that he was fine. But even still, you could have an honest conversation with Rodgers. Say, hey, we got to think about our future here long term. You're not staying with us for the next 5 years. We got to see what we got in Jordan Love. If he performs well, we'll trade you somewhere. We'll get you the benefit of the doubt. We'll let you kind of pick your spot. We'll make sure it happens. And if Jordan Love doesn't perform, you're welcome to come back. But that's a risky spot of just kind of alienating Rodgers because we know how petty he is.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna roll with Jordan Love, I think it's over for Aaron Rodgers. But that's probably what I would do. Is I don't know how Aaron would take it personally because
Aaron's a little unpredictable.
We don't have the benefit of knowing Aaron Rodgers personally, but I would try and, if I were the Packers, I'd sit them down and be like, hey, the season hasn't gone the way we hoped. Like you said, we're going to let you, in this offseason, we're going to let you basically choose your spot, within reason.
Yeah.
Because they still want to get something back for him. But we want to see what Jordan Love has got. Go on vacation. You're getting paid millions of dollars to, just take it easy for a little bit.
Yeah. Go take whatever you're taking. Psychedelics.
Yeah, the ayahuasca. I mean, since that came out, Packers haven't been very good, so maybe he shouldn't be taking
Maybe he should start taking them again.
But you mentioned the Eagles, 363 total rushing yards.
That's pretty good.
On this defense, like I mentioned before, has a ton of money, has a ton of draft picks put into it.
Jalen Hurts, pretty good guys.
Yeah, the Eagles, you know, you mentioned that. I think a few people are starting to mention that they may be overrated, but there's still only one loss. I think they're one of the prime candidates to get out of this NFC.
Yeah, I think that the Eagles, especially with that home field advantage, the Philly fans are going to be nuts. They're going to be loud. There's probably going to be a horse that gets attacked at some point. Hopefully nobody leaves stuff on the street. I'll just leave it at that. But we'll see. I think Minnesota, if they can kind of figure out their Kirk Cousins situation, because he's played well in a couple primetime games, but you really never know.
Yeah.
There are obviously teams like San Francisco who are built for big runs like this. You can never count out Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And then what is going to happen with the Giants, Commanders, and the Cowboys? Because all three of those teams are extremely good. The Eagles are about to really find out who they are in these next 6 games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who do you think could win? Could get out of this NFC, like realistically?
San Francisco.
I think it's San Francisco,
Philadelphia,
and
I think
maybe the Cowboys.
I think you always have to have a Tom Brady wild card. He could turn it on. I know it's not looked great.
I don't think so at this point.
They're going to get a home playoff game.
But they just aren't good.
What has history taught us, though?
I mean, yes, you can never bet against Tom Brady, but
I know it's kind of like annoying to bring up that argument every single time, but until he proves us wrong.
You know, maybe the whole thing is you can't bet against Bruce Arians and Bill Belichick.
I guess maybe.
Maybe. I mean, the clock management they had this weekend against the Browns was awful.
Yes.
But
I don't know. The NFC for me, it's probably Philly or San Francisco.
I think those are the 2 main ones, and then maybe throw Dallas in there. I don't know.
I
don't know about Minnesota.
If we're going to get against New England, then
Thuggins out there. But anyways, we'll get to one more game before getting kicking our coverage quickly. You mentioned it earlier. The Bengals beat the Titans 20-16. Who Dey Nation?
What a solid last 2 days for you.
Yeah. The Bengals are rolling. You know, even without Jamar Chase.
T. Higgins is stepping up. I think Higgins is a number 1 wide receiver on most teams.
Yeah, I mean we've mentioned this countless times. I think on the show this season, this NFL season. But yeah, T. Higgins. As long as you have him or Jamar Chase, you're in good shape.
Yeah. Because Higgins, he's kind of their 50-50 ball guy, and Jamar Chase just stretches the field like nobody's ever seen.
Yep. And you know the emergence of Trenton Irwin as a wide receiver too.
There you go.
Has been fantastic. DJ Reader is back.
That's huge for plugging up the hole.
He had like 3 or 4 batted passes, which was awesome. He is one of the best D tackles in this league.
Yeah.
So he's fun to watch. And they held Derrick Henry to 38 yards on 17 carries, 2.2 yards a carry.
And majority of that was on that big giant. That was a slip screen. Never mind. That was a screen play.
Regardless, they took away what Tennessee does well.
Yep.
They made Tennessee have to win with Ryan Tannehill, which
Cincinnati owns Tennessee. I think they're 3-0 against them in the last 3 games.
Look, that defense. I know Chidobe Awuzie is out for the season, which hurts when you're playing prolific passing games. But you know, they made Tennessee uncomfortable and made them do what they didn't want to do. So good for the Bengals. Good for Lou Anarumo.
All right, Patrick, we're going to play a game called Guess That Schedule.
Okay.
And you're going to predict the rest of these 6 games. I'm going to let you do it because you're your team.
Yeah, I got it.
I'll offer my opinion on whether I agree at the very end. So they got the Chiefs at home.
I'll be at this game.
You will?
Yes. So
nice.
I get to travel to Cincinnati this week.
There you go.
It's supposed to be cold and rainy. So that is not good.
You'll be there, but
that
you'll
is
be
not
there.
good.
You get to give us your in-depth report.
Look, yeah, well, I'll be sure to come back with a little report on Cincinnati weather, but I think it'll be close. I'm gonna give the Bengals the benefit of the doubt. I know the Chiefs are probably gonna win the Super Bowl, but you know,
big
let's
matchup.
go Bengals.
Okay, then Cleveland comes to town.
Cleveland owns
the Bengals.
Joe Burrow somehow, so you know We'll say the Bengals be 1-1 in those 2 games.
Okay. Then they go on the road to play Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
W.
Okay. They go on the road to Foxborough on Christmas Eve to play the Patriots.
The Cover 2 Bowl.
Cover 2 Bowl.
I don't know what you're.
Tough schedule.
I mean, yeah, I want to say it's like the 3rd hardest remaining. So,
Yeah.
look, I'm gonna say the Bengals are a better team than the Patriots.
I would not disagree with you on that one.
But you never know. It's Bill Belichick.
On that game, it hinges on what the New England offense does.
Yep, exactly. And then I believe it's the Bills and the Ravens.
Both at home though.
I think if you can be 3-3 in that stretch, you're looking good for a playoff spot. But the AFC is tough. You know, if you're the Bengals, you want to win the division, so you probably got to win a few more. Yeah, win 4+.
New England's in that same spot too. They got to win. They got to win 4.
It's tough. It's tough.
Next 6.
But I'll be sure to come back with a report on how that game went.
And I'm here to say that I agree with your takes. Not a biased fan. Everyone give Patrick his props. Didn't say 6-0.
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
I don't know. Maybe we will be, but
maybe.
Anyways, outkicking our coverage. We'll speed through this a little bit.
Speed run of out
because I think we're getting a little short on time. But you want to start us off?
Yeah, let's start with a negative one. Get Cliff Kingsbury out of there as soon as you can. 28, 32-1. It just gets worse. This team is not good. Even with Hopkins, they're not good. The crowning achievement when they made the playoffs is then getting smoked by the Rams. In said game, I think he's a creative guy offensively. I think he could make it as a coordinator in this league for sure. But I don't think he's really capable of running a team as a whole. I think it's pretty evident once you get to those later months, he falls apart as a coordinator and a coach. I just don't think he's really the answer. And I think you got to think about Kyler Murray here. If you can bring in a guy like Mike McDaniel, maybe.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel is what Cliff Kingsbury should be, and he's not.
Yeah, I mean, even when he was at Texas Tech, he had Patrick Mahomes, and they finished 6-6 or whatever it was.
Not a good look.
Or 8, I don't know, somewhere around that range.
Yeah.
I don't know, he was a USC head coach or coordinator for like a few days, and then he ended up taking the Cardinals job. Cliff Kingsbury has just never done it for me. And
he really underwhelms me.
Well, I think we've talked about it now, kicking our coverage before, that he's probably the next coach fired. They have a bye this week, so they also have in-season Hard Knocks, which would be fantastic entertainment if he got fired. Because
so I look up Cliff Kingsbury, and the first 2 articles that I see are potential replacements for him.
Yeah, I mean,
for Arizona beat writers, that's tough.
I honestly don't think he survives to next season.
No.
It may take until the end of the season for them to fire him, but I think he's gone.
Yeah.
Similarly, my little take here is that the Broncos need to cut Russell Wilson.
Broncos country.
At the end of the season.
That's right.
And honestly, it's probably not gonna probably won't happen just because I believe, depending on when you cut him, it would be $42 million in dead cap the 2023 season, and then like $60 million the year after that. So that's probably not an option financially, because you just be sitting with like $100 million in dead cap over the next 2 years that you couldn't use. But he has not been good. Have you seen the guy on TikTok that's keeping up with how many touchdowns he has compared to how many bathrooms he has in his new Denver home?
Yeah, doesn't he have like 5 or 6 touchdowns compared to like 7 bathrooms in his home?
It's like, I don't know, it's something like 7 or 12. I think he has 12 bathrooms in his home.
12 bathrooms in their house?
And it's, 11, 12 weeks in, and he has still not surpassed that in passing touchdowns. So pretty terrible, honestly. I don't think there's much argument there, but
Patrick, I think if I'm me and I'm looking to buy a home and I have a house listed, they got 12 bathrooms. I'm like, oh, absolutely.
I mean,
like, who does that?
Like maybe Russ has got elite bowel movement or something.
Maybe. Let Russ cook.
Maybe he shouldn't be if he needs 12 bathrooms. But
maybe
anyways,
time for. Do you want to do your positive, or do you want me to do mine?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do that. But
okay.
Also, quickly mention, did you see the video of the Broncos player
screaming at him?
Like, I just think at this point he's not a leader on this team.
He's like, what?
He's gotta.
Are you doing?
You got to get him out of here. Anyways, My positive take: Mike White
See it on the screen.
will be enough to not only lead the Jets to a playoff spot, but a playoff win.
Oh.
I mean, they were playing in a monsoon this week. He
They were
went
indeed.
22 of 28, 315, 3 touchdowns.
Beast.
Look, if you just get competent play out of your quarterback if you're the Jets, that defense, those offensive weapons, honestly, Garrett Wilson was fantastic in this game. I think you have enough. Like if you say the Jets are matched up with like the Titans
I take the Jets.
like honestly that defensive line I think can hold this Titan, Derrick Henry and the running game to kind of what the Bengals did this past week. And then, you need 20, 25 points
Defense
out
holds.
of your team, and I think Mike White can do that.
You
So.
just need the quarterback to hold serve, and that's all you need.
Yeah,
Zach Wilson double faults.
I think Mike White, as long as he plays somewhat competent, I think the Jets will be good this postseason, not off season. But anyways,
Now this is mine. Now we were talking about it before, but Trevor Lawrence balling out this year. I think that he's the guy we got to stop. I think he's the best quarterback in this class.
Yep.
We got to stop this Justin Fields talk.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence is it. He's finally as good as advertised. So last year he was under 60% at 59.5 completion percentage, 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, the most in the league. Now he is at this season 66.5 completion percentage, 16 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and his QBR rating is up 20 points. I think it went from like 60 or 70 to 90, something like that. But it's gone up 20 points. I will check.
yeah.
Because I had the number in my head, and now it's just gone for some reason.
But like you're saying, I think Trevor Lawrence, this is
Yeah, it went from 71.9 to 93.6. That's pretty good.
good for him. Good
Pretty
for him.
good.
Yeah, I mean, they don't quite have the record they probably could have.
Right. They've been
if-
in a lot of close games, though.
Yeah, a lot of close games. You fix that up in the offseason, and you're looking at a playoff team, I think.
I think so. They're a couple pieces away
Yeah,
from being really, really good.
yeah, I think so as well. So,
All right.
Trevor Lawrence,
T-Law and
looking
Duval.
forward to it. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of The Cover 2, presented by TigerVision. Yeah, we want to thank you for tuning in as always. We want to thank Zach
Zach the GOAT.
who is behind the camera for,
He does his thing.
he does
his
it
thing.
always without fail.
Without fail. Never disappointed with Zach.
Thank the U.S. for
Yes.
being good at soccer.
Thank you.
Absolutely elite. Gonna win the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Beat the Netherlands.
Yeah, we'll
Beat the Netherlands.
We'll beat the Netherlands.
Beat the Bills on Thursday. I'll do my own reporting if I'm sad.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, probably gonna happen, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's gonna do it for this episode of The Cover 2. Yeah.
Have a great one.
We'll see y'all next time. Have a good one.